The secret psychology of female desire. There's a truth about desire, a truth so powerful, so unsettling, that the modern world has buried it deep under layers of comfort and political correctness. Today, you're about to uncover that very secret, a secret whispered only in the corridors of psychology, dismissed as nothing more than a dangerous curiosity. But it's more than that. It's a hidden principle, one that only a few ever dared to understand. And when they did, every book written about human relationships suddenly felt like a lie. This truth is so raw, so dangerous, that once you know it, you'll never see human desire, especially female desire, the same way again. This is the key that unlocks every lock society has placed on us, to make us believe love, attraction, and relationships work in ways they simply don't. And it all begins with the return of buried desires. Sigmund Freud, the man who dared to peer into the depths of the unconscious mind, stumbled onto a truth so unsettling it shook the very foundation of his own theories. The story begins in late 1800s Vienna. A wealthy aristocratic woman, Anna von Lieben, came to Freud. She suffered from mysterious attacks of hysteria, sudden impulses beyond reason, and she was trapped in a marriage she despised. Freud, then a young researcher of mental illness, decided to dive into Anna's unconscious. What he found was not just shocking for Anna, it was a revelation for Freud himself. Anna wasn't simply craving affection or attention. Inside her, deeper and darker desires were growing. Desires of submission, humiliation, even violence. Now, society at that time labeled these urges as abnormal, even perverse. But Freud realized something extraordinary. These weren't illnesses. These were natural expressions of a hidden, primal layer of the female mind. In a private letter, Freud once wrote, "A civilized woman is nothing but a veil. Behind it hides a storm of primal desires, a hunger no one dares to name." And this wasn't just theory, it was clinical observation, raw truth revealed in treatment, and Anna wasn't the only one. One of Freud's most infamous patients was Dora Edebauer, a sharp, outspoken 18-year-old. Her father sent her to Freud after she accused a family friend of sexual assault. But Freud uncovered something far more complex. Dora didn't completely hate that man. Deep down, she felt a strange attraction toward him. Her mental breakdown wasn't only trauma, it was the pain of an unfulfilled desire. She was furious, not because he made a move on her, but because when she resisted, he stopped chasing her. Freud called this the eroticism of rejection, when denial itself fuels desire. And if you look at today's dating world, Freud's insight becomes even clearer. Look at the world around us today. We're taught that no means no. We're told persistence is wrong, that attraction should be clear and logical. But history, and Freud's work, tell a very different story. Attraction often grows in conflict, in distance, and in mystery. Think about Cleopatra. She kept Julius Caesar hooked, not with submission, but with resistance and enigma. Or the medieval poets who poured their hearts into songs for women they never even met. The pattern is clear. Desire doesn't follow reason. It feeds on challenge, on tension, on secrecy. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Modern ideas of consent and clarity often ignore the deeper psychological and biological realities that have lived inside the female mind for centuries. And then comes Freud's most controversial idea of all, penis envy. Now, most people misunderstood it. They thought Freud meant women were jealous of the male body. But that wasn't it. Freud was pointing to something far deeper: power and control. Women, for generations, were conditioned to wait, to receive, but never to take. And so their desires often formed around being pursued, overpowered, even controlled. And as women gained more independence, something fascinating happened. Cultures of dominance and submission, BDSM fantasies, powerful romance novels exploded. Why? Because with freedom came the unmasking of those primal desires. Take a look at the billion-dollar romance novel industry. What are those stories filled with? Powerful, confident, sometimes even ruthless men, and women who surrender to them. The truth is simple. Female desire doesn't awaken through reason. It awakens through challenge. Look around today's world, and one thing stands out. The men who play by the rules, who try their hardest to be nice, caring, and endlessly understanding, are often the loneliest and most broken. That's not an accident. It's rooted in a psychological truth Freud uncovered more than a century ago. He warned, one day, society will strip men of their raw masculinity. And when women lose interest in them, those same men will be blamed. And isn't that exactly what's happening today? Take Michael, for example. He's 32, an engineer. And last year he came to me heartbroken. Michael was everything today's culture calls the perfect man. Smart, emotionally available, a believer in equality, a man who cooked for his girlfriend, never forgot her birthday, and supported her career without question. And yet, she left him for another man. Not a better man, but a man who made her feel something. Michael's only mistake? He was too safe, too stable, too predictable. Her last words to him were, "I love you, but I'm not in love with you." And this story? It's not rare. It's happening to thousands of men, because in reality, desire isn't fueled by comfort. It's fueled by challenge. Freud called this the hedonic treadmill. When something is given too often, its impact fades. What sparks desire isn't endless satisfaction. It's the chase. In fact, modern studies back this up. In the 1970s, psychologist David Buss studied mate retention strategies around the world. His most controversial finding? Women are most attracted to men who other women also desire, and least attracted to men who are always available. This wasn't just true in America or Europe. It was true everywhere, from tribal societies to modern cities. The principle is simple. What's easily available loses value. Scarcity creates desire. So the big question is, what's the solution? Should men just become emotionally unavailable? Should they play games? Number. The real answer lies in frame control, understanding how you present yourself inside a relationship. In today's world, the men who succeed with women are not the ones chasing, they're the ones who pull women toward them. Because they understand a simple truth. Attraction isn't a formula, it's a psychological game. Women say they want a great listener, but in reality, they respond to the man who gives them direction. They say they want kindness, but deep down, it's confidence that stirs their desire, not arrogance, but that quiet strength that speaks louder than words. Freud called this paradox the key to female attraction. Desire doesn't awaken when a woman is comfortable. It awakens when she's challenged, and neuroscience backs this up. In 2019, a UCLA fMRI study showed women two sets of male faces. One group was smiling, friendly, approachable. The other was serious, confident, even slightly intimidating. Guess what? The brain's reward centers lit up only for the second group, not for the nice guys, which means the female mind responds not to comfort, but to challenge. Freud named it the defiance paradox. The more a woman resists a man's dominance, the faster her unconscious prepares to surrender to it. Now think about it. How many times have you seen a woman friend zone a kind, loyal guy, only to run back to the ex who broke her heart? Or a successful, independent woman falling head over heels for a man who gives her nothing but distance and mystery? It's not about low self-esteem. It's biology. A built-in filter that still tests a man's strength, the same way her ancestors once did for survival. So when a woman pushes you away emotionally or picks a fight, what's really happening? She's testing whether you can stay in control, And most men fail, without ever realizing it was just a test. But it doesn't end there. Back in 1951, psychologist Erik Erikson uncovered something so uncomfortable that many wanted his research buried. He found that in every long-term relationship, there exists an invisible balance of power. And the moment a man gives up his role as the emotional pillar, a woman doesn't just lose respect for him, she loses attraction too. One woman confessed anonymously, "I begged him to open up emotionally. But when he finally did, I could never look at him the same way again." And that right there is the greatest lie of modern relationships. Women say they want equality, but their desires? They seek polarity. They say they want emotional openness, but what excites them is the man who remains in emotional control. Freud's darkest, most unsettling conclusion was this: the female mind rejects the very thing it desires most. So does that mean you should become cold, manipulative, even cruel? The real solution is polarity, the balance of opposite energies. Men who understand this don't hate women. They understand them. They know true masculinity isn't about forcing control. It's about showing a presence so strong, so grounded, that others naturally choose to follow. They don't ask for respect. They command it. Not with loud words, but with silent strength. Freud's last years were filled with frustration. He watched society push his ideas aside, calling them outdated, offensive, even dangerous. But here's the irony. The very world that tried to silence him ended up proving him right. Look around today. Men are more lost than ever. Women are more dissatisfied than ever. Dating apps are full of endless swipes, but empty hearts. Freud predicted this exact collapse. He warned, when men forget their nature, and when women deny their true desires, love itself will become an illusion. And that's where we are now. A world where men bend over backwards to be chosen, while women secretly crave the men strong enough to walk away. But here's the truth nobody wants to admit. The female mind is not the enemy. It's a mirror. It reveals the strength or weakness inside a man. And the men who succeed in love are not the richest, the tallest, or the most handsome. They're the men who master their frame, who embrace polarity, and who live by one rule: never beg for desire. Command it. Because in the end, Freud's most powerful lesson wasn't about women at all. It was about men, about reclaiming the strength, the presence, and the mystery that make desire possible. And when you understand this, you stop chasing love, you start attracting it.